Let's hop right into the game. Oh, my chair. Just lock that. Before she realized it, the girl was standing before an imposing door. The girl occasionally came to Manton Aquarium alone. She watched the manta rays, she watched the jellyfish, and finally she decided it was time to go home. Where's this? She had her doubts, but there'd be nothing else there besides the... She had their doubts, but there should be nothing else there besides for the aquarium. She assured herself that she probably wandered off into the side path. The door before her had a large padlock hanging from it. Just as she heard, it was unlocked and merely dangling there. The girl drew in a breath. Being locked would usually mean that she was in a place she shouldn't enter. Being open just meant that a staff member had forgotten to lock it, so going in was out of the question. Her curiosity piqued. It was time if she was past the point of persuasion. Her imagination ran wild and her mind raced at the prospect of what may lie behind the door. Just for a little bit. She opened the door and saw lots of glass tanks. Several types of fish hailing from the deep seas. Let me adjust this ever a little bit. Give me one moment. Okay, that should be better. Several types of fish hailing from the deep seas, from football fish and oarfish to pelican eels and barrel eyes, were swimming about. Why isn't this an exhibit? She thought it over, wondering why this would be in its own closed-off area. Behind her, the door shut on its own. The girl spaced out, staring at the deep-sea fish swimming about. They would leap from tank and They would leap from the tank and swim in midair. The entirety of the room was a fish in the air ocean. Though it was an unnatural occurrence, the girl treated it as quite normal. Wasn't there usually a deep-sea booth that was shut down? She suddenly remembered. At that moment, her surroundings were dyed a deep red. The water in the tanks, the fluorescent lights, all of it was red. The girl's vision also became red. When she opened her eyes, the girl was back in her own room. It was well into the night. She couldn't remember how she had gotten home after all of that. But, more importantly, she had a bad feeling about something else. It isn't red here. She became aware of how hard it was suddenly to breathe. No matter how hard she gasped, she was unable to get oxygen into her body. Like the fish who couldn't breathe anywhere but in the water, she couldn't breathe unless she was inside that red color. She was convinced. On impulse, she threw open the window, leaned out, and thrust a hand outside. She couldn't inhale the wind flooding her room. She could only smell its milky, unpleasant scent. More. At that moment, the girl's body was tossed into the air. For just a second, her body seemed to float like the fish in the sea. Her room was on the 12th floor of her apartment building. In her fading consciousness, the girl watched her blood flow endlessly from her body. It's red. Only then could she breathe. Now everything would be fine. The girl smiled. The full moon in the night sky smiled too. Nope, there's some drops. Drip, drip. The sound of falling drops. The moon was concealed behind the clouds, and all of the lights in the town were covered in water, the sound of it the only things left to resonate. She couldn't tell if it was hot or cold, merely that the humid air was encircling her. Drip, drip. Wherever they were falling to, wherever they were coming from, the drops just continued to trickle out. That single drop. I stopped it with both hands. The sound of that solitary red drop. This is interesting. I like the writing so far. So I'm kind of curious to where it kind of leads. Or at least there's an urban legend that goes like that. Talking about men in an aquarium again? That's your new thing, isn't it? While stuffing her lunch into her mouth, Tamagawa Himeno spoke, her eyes sparkling. I had no idea which point of the story got her so excited. That's right. Isn't that the scariest part? That the girl jumped to her death, smiling, after coming back from the man in an aquarium. It's pretty bad. Yeah, you don't seem the least bit scared, Himeno. That's not true. I've got chills running down my spine. Someone who's got chills running down their spine wouldn't be eating a pastry so cheerfully. Someone who's got chills running down their spine wouldn't be eating a pastry so cheerfully. And hey, that's my meatball. Oh. During the break in the conversation, Himeno stole a side dish from my box lunch. This mincemeat from growing calves and little piglets is the best. Why do you have to put it like that? Jeez, why do you have to make me lose my appetite? I'll give you the rest of it. Alright, I'll take it. Himeno takes the rest of the meatball from my lunch with amazing rhythm. The reason that I, Nakanome Mayumi, lost my appetite wasn't because of Himeno's story scared me. Man in Aquarium and I are connected in a way that I'd rather not think about. Of course, Himeno has no idea about that connection. If she knew, she'd never mention Man in Aquarium around me again. At the same time, I've been afraid that this thing might cause Himeno to stop talking to me. Himeno is pretty much my only friend. It isn't that I haven't talked to anyone since entering junior high, just that the only person I can actually call a friend is Himeno. Seriously, I think the whole Man in an Aquarium rumor obsession is getting to be a bit much. Maybe. There's just so many rumors, though. Like there's a man's ghost in the tanks, the deep-sea fish booth is only open on full moon. Oh! Brawl with this resubscription for 4 months. Thank you so much. Your hidden gem shines ever brighter. How do you like the minimalistic setup I've got going on right now? You jumped in right at the perfect time. We're really early in the game. We're kind of doing a little bit of character building right now. That early one goes to this one. Also. No, that's fine. You don't need to say anymore. I say firmly, causing Himeno to make a sour face. Well, it is a visual novel, so if you can't expect talking, there's gonna be a lot of it. Also, hey Butamus, how's it going? Soon after, Himeno changes the subject. First to a TV drama that aired the night before. Then to some cute fake nails with cats on them she found in a magazine. She then talks about a classmate who was dating a boy from a nearby private school, alighting on one subject before quickly changing to the next. Normally, the subject of Man in an Aquarium shouldn't have popped up again. Anyway, getting back to what we were talking about earlier. Huh? What exactly are you getting back to? Manton Aquarium. I looked into it, and this Sunday will be a full moon. Huh? That was all I could say, the rest of my words unable to come out. So, we should go see if the rumors are true or not. But... I know you're not interested in stuff like urban legends, Mayu. But next week we'll start prepping for the end of the semester, and I won't be able to hang out with you. Lately we haven't gone anywhere together, have we? If the full moon was next Sunday, I'm sure Himeno wouldn't have said anything. But I suspect because it happens to be this Sunday and next week happens to be our exams, she chose Manton Aquarium. I know that I'm not hiding my confusion or my hesitation very well. Even so, Himeno turns her carefree grin my way. Since it's an aquarium, even if the rumors aren't true, we could still have fun, right? Well, that's true. Usually, anywhere I go with Himeno, I have fun. Whether or not we'd have fun or not wasn't what I was worried about. By the way, Mayu, in the East Building of Manton Aquarium, they have Häagen-Dazs. As in the Eden restaurant? They'd closed up at one point, but it looks like they're reopening for a limited time. Really? Really? They have the cookies and cream flavor you like too, Mayu. Of course I hesitate, but in the end that settles it. Then we'll go, as long as we definitely get some cookies and cream. Saying you have no money because you did too much shopping is out of the question. I know. After all, I'm something of a glutton myself. Fine, fine. In the end, we settle on Manton Aquarium and ice cream for Sunday. Since I've already received my reward money for moving on to the next grade, I don't need to worry about my allowance. Still, it's been 5 years. Did you say something, Mayu? No, nothing. I bite my tongue, covering the words that have carelessly spelled out. I'm looking forward to the aquarium. It's probably been about 10 years. I'm looking forward to the cookies and cream. It's probably been about 10 years. That's not true. That's the truth. It's the only thing I'll eat there. Okay, so I gotta remember that Himeno is the friend and the other one's me. Himeno goes, "You little," as she playfully stretches my cheeks. The end of the lunch chime sounds, and Himeno goes back to her own seat. If it's with Himeno, I'll be fine. That's what I told myself at the time. We got that little interstitial. So far, I'm enjoying the writing of this. We haven't gotten any of the spookiness. I know it's supposed to get creepy. Sunday is 3 days after that. The day I promised to go with Himeno to Manton Aquarium has arrived. We are to meet at noon at the Manton Show station. As is customary to me, I arrive 30 minutes early. Leaning against a pillar, I do nothing but space out. Tons of people pass before me. Manton is really crowded on days off. Even so, there aren't many families or groups of students, everyone around me appearing to be adults. Because of that, I quickly begin to feel uneasy. Oh, so what I also understand about this game is that there are 30 endings, over 30 endings, and most of them are bad ends. So, if you all are up to it, I will leave any kind of decisions up to all of you, see where the story kind of goes. Because I don't know which routes are the good ends or which ones are the bad ends, so it'll be interesting to kind of see together. Within this crowd, I am alone. Inexplicably, my head begins to hurt. I wonder if Himeno will be there. I wonder if Himeno will be here soon. I mutter to myself, then look at my shoes. Deep blue sandal boots that were this year's newest product. When Mom and I stopped off at the department store on Saturday, she bought them for me after some coaxing on my part. They were far from what you'd call high quality, but they were still a bit pricey on a junior high schooler's allowance. I'm not usually the type to beg, but I couldn't take my eyes off of these boots. My mom bought them with almost no resistance, saying, "You're going out of town, so you need to look your best." I like both their form and their color, and I found them a better fit for the summer season than anything else. I take my cell phone out and check the time. There's still 15 minutes to go until we are to meet. Since Himeno is usually 3 minutes later than the time we establish, I got about 20 minutes. I finished reading my paperback on the train, so I have nothing to kill time with. There's nothing I can do about it, so I decide to keep myself from boredom by watching the people passing by. If I don't keep myself distracted, horrible thoughts will revive in my mind. I'm always worrying about what would happen if I'm late, though. It had actually been about a month and a half since Himeno and I had gone out. We always talked at school, but rarely spent time together afterwards. Anyone who saw us probably thought we were opposites. Outings like this aside, I often spend my time off at home. When I was in elementary school, our family would go out often, but lately it's been limited to dining out on Saturdays. So when I'm asked to do what I do when I stay home, I usually just say I do nothing. Doing homework and watching TV is stuff that seems pretty common to me. On the other end of the spectrum is Himeno, who goes out regularly. I often hear stories about when she went to karaoke on weeknights, or how she traveled out town on Sundays. She's a member of an active sports club and often wants to hang out with them afterwards. Going out of town on already limited days we have off tends to make me think. Even though it's a day to rest, I don't feel rested at all. In other words, something like this is a difference between Himeno and I. Without much common ground between us, why we became friends is... Suddenly, the light fades from my vision. It wasn't that it had become dark, it's just that the sensation of... but that I had the sensation of being unable to breathe. Sorry, I'm tripping over my words a little bit tonight, but I'm going to try to do my best. But rather than sweating it, I get a little mad. Sorry. Hearing my wordless protests, Himeno pulled her hands away. I get playing the who am I game while covering someone's eyes, but covering someone's mouth too was just like Himeno. When I puff out my cheeks and object, Himeno just smiles at me. It's because you were staring into space, Mayu. Instead of apologizing, Himeno blew the nape of my neck. Without thinking, I made a weird sound. Embarrassed, I looked around 2 or 3 times, but the pedestrians walking by seemed unperturbed and didn't even look our way. The culprit that surprised me moves in front of me before I realize it. You're mean, Himeno. I got to hear something good. No, you didn't. Moreover, As I say that, I check the time on my smartphone. It's 3 minutes to noon, our agreed-upon meeting time. It's not time yet. How rare. That's rude. Jeez. I'll make you make a weird noise again. Saying that, Himeno opens and closes her fingers in small, swift, grasping motions. At times like this, I know I'd better change the subject or get messed with by Himeno again. Oh, by the way, did you buy a new one? You mean my necktie? Yes, I did. I thought I should get one to match my shorts. You and I haven't hung out since midterms, Mayu. If I buy something today, I'll be really out of money. What about the aquarium? You still set on finding out about the urban legends then? Of course. That's my #1 goal. But as usual, I can't count the things I want to do on just one hand. Okay, I get it. Just as long as I eat cookies and cream. That's absolute. I haven't forgotten. Anyway, Mayu, aren't your sandals new? Himeno says as she looks at my feet, talking about 3 times as fast as she does in class. Yeah, nice, aren't they? They're super cute. How cool. I want a pair too. No, then we'll be too similar. And these are the only pairs of sandals I have for the summer. Talking like this, it puts me at ease. Unlike myself, who is childish, Himeno knows a lot about fashion and trends. Even here in Menton, it seems like she blends in. Most importantly, by being with Himeno and constantly chatting, pardon me, I no longer feel lonely. Oh yeah, Himeno. Why'd you bring such a huge bag? I'm glad you asked. With a hee-hee, Himeno opens the Boston bag she had let sink down from her shoulder. A variety of things come out, such as a flashlight, insect repellent, a simple blanket, a first aid kit, matches, and snacks like chocolate and cookies. What is all this? Himeno, where do you plan on going? Ignoring the twitch developing in my face, Himeno thumbs her chest. Jeez, to the aquarium. But since we're investigating urban legends, we should at least have some supplies. Rather than an investigation, the equipment she has reminds me more of going camping in the mountains. The snacks and blanket aside, where in the city this size would we need insect repellent or a flashlight? I keep those feelings to myself and just smiled. It's going really well, Brawl. I tried to get this set up as well. I wanted to do the green screen originally, but I couldn't get a good angle with this camera. Also, this camera's not as good as my my PC one, but we're making do. Hopefully we can get it kind of working well. I keep those feelings to myself and just smiled. I let out a breath that is half exasperated, half amused. I don't get sick with being Himeno. Whether Himeno is aware of my exasperated skaze or not, she starts to take something out, then quickly shoves it back in. She gives me a smile, implying some secret. Ah, no, wait. It's too soon for you to see that. What were you about to pull out? I'm not telling. Upon saying that, Himeno quickly closes the bag. The way I see it, it's a wonder that she fit all the supplies she had out just a moment ago. I wonder where it's all being stored. By the way, no club today? I ask with the underlying question of whether or not today is a day off for the club. At my question, Himeno averts her eyes. Quick save. Nope. Probably. No club today. Really? Giving a brief answer, I start walking. Upon hearing her reply, I immediately understand it as, she skipped again. But not wanting to ruin the merry mood, I merely quicken my pace. I'm not in any clubs, but even I know it's not good to skip. Speaking honestly, I want her to show up for a club, as she seems to be respected even by students from the other schools. Coming here together like this makes me feel equally guilty, though. Once I get thinking, I usually don't stop. So the conversation shifts to a ramen shop that catches my eye. Oh, Mayu, do you want to get lunch? Huh, you caught that. Feeling as if she's seen right through me, we head to a nearby coffee shop. It is apparently famous following its coverage in a magazine for sandwiches overflowing with veggies. I say apparently because on excitedly finding this restaurant, Himeno shared this. Compared to a hamburger shop, this place is a bit intimidating and trendy to me, but since I'm with Himeno, it doesn't bother me. Shoving the roast chicken sandwich with extra olives that I order into my mouth, the unease I've been feeling disappears. In contrast to my fervor, Himeno eats her avocado and shrimp sandwich in small bites. Well then, about our plans for today. Himeno starts in as soon as we finish eating. We'll start with the aquarium. No matter what, that's the main thing. So we'll look into the old man's ghost and the closed-off deep-sea fish booth rumors. After that, we'll go to the shops and finally have some ice cream. I think it's better to get the cookies and cream first. If you eat 2 times, you'll mess up your stomach and get fat. You won't be able to wear a bathing suit. Aw, Himeno, it's no fair for you to put it that way. It isn't fair. Himeno's in the exercise club, so she'll be fine. But for someone like me who doesn't exercise enough, it makes me stop and think. Having said I wanted to go to the pool, it's all the more important. Okay, we'll stick with my plan. That was a delicious meal. Urged on by Himeno, I decide to leave the ice cream shop for another time. Talking about silly things together, we leave the station behind. As opposed to the station's excellent cooling system, the city streets have a particular humidity and heat about them that envelops our bodies. The beginning of July, summer has only begun, and I can already tell it's going to be a tough one. We weave our way into the crowds until we're 10 minutes away from the station, finally ending up in front of the skyscraper. The building is a symbol for the people of Manton, a combined facility for commerce, what you might call a fashion building in reference to the businesses it contains. Manton is a town known as a place people go for amusement. If you wanted to really have a good time, they have a movie theater, arcades, and several shops, though you need to have money. Because of that, young women and men are more numerous than boys and girls. In this town of people older than us, Himeno scans the panels for each floor without fear. The aquarium is... People are concentrated around the panels. Of little help to Himeno and trying to take up as little space as possible, I leave the search to her and gaze up at the building. I look up and up, but the top of the building is so far I think my neck will snap. That's magnificent. This building was built not long after I was born. It's been finished before I could walk, but the first and only time I came here was in elementary school. The instant I think back on my first visit, my head begins to hurt. Okay. No, I have to try not to think about it. Those are things from long ago, things from the past, things that are done. Sorry, I can do nothing but deal with the pain that feels as if something is pressing against the inside of my skull. I finally hear Himeno calling me in a loud voice. The elevator's this way. Come on. I push away my headache and step through the automatic door. The information at the entrance and placement of the crane game are exactly the same as that day, giving me a slightly bad feeling. Ooh, we got a little opener. Hey, indie game lover, how are you doing? You came in at the perfect time. We're just arriving at this aquarium where there's urban legends kind of going on. It's supposed to be a creepy game. All we've had is world building so far. Let me turn the camera off so you can kind of appreciate the entire opener. That actually just sold me on the game. I bought this game pretty blind, just knowing that there was some horror elements to it, and it had relatively low reviews. Relatively low, as in just not many of them. The reviews it's gotten have been pretty positive. From the elevator landing, we need to head to the top floor from the separate Manson East building. The elevator is the type that has a glass window. I gotta make sure I'm not muted. Okay, I'm not muted. The elevator is the type that has a glass window so you can see out. That's the only thing that's distracting me from my gloom. A crowd of people get on with us, but almost all of them are gone by the time we reach the floor that contains the aquarium. They probably stopped off at the apparel or sundry shops. It isn't that we aren't interested, but Jimeno recommends, it's crowded now, so let's go back when it's busy. And that keeps us back. Deciding to stick with the plans we made back at the coffee shop. The art is fantastic in this game. As I said, it's a small Dojin studio. They are not making games, as far as I know, anymore. Or like the AIOU company, I think is what they're called. The AIUEO company. But it is published by Sakai Project, which does a lot of visual novels for Steam. Stepping onto our floor, the atmosphere immediately switches to a lively one. The sound of chatter are drowned out by the roar of a large fan. The lighting is dim and tinted slightly blue. The windows are also covered, giving the feeling that it's suddenly become night. As this is an aquarium, it makes sense that the concept is based around the ocean. Yes, the pungent smell of salt is a major change. So when it comes to visual novels, they're kind of a difficult thing for me to stream. I don't mind the talking at all. I read stuff out loud anyways. But I want to make sure that I'm not going to play something that's going to turn to a point where I could potentially get reported on Twitch for it. So I at least check to make sure that there's not any kind of material that is prohibited from Twitch, or if there happens to be, that I could turn it off. This game doesn't have that as far as I've been reading. Amazing. It's like we dived into the deep sea. Yeah, visual novels, there is a lot of borderline hentai on Steam. So you gotta be really careful with it if you're streaming on Twitch. And it's not like Mixer's any better. They have the same kind of rules for that stuff. I think the only place you can do it without issue would be like DLive. But I think even them there's kind of iffy about. That's what I thought too. Instead of being targeted at families, lately it seems more like a date spot for adults. Or at least that's what the magazine says. But it's true. Even though this is my second time coming here, it feels like the first time. It feels like a very... No, sorry. Next to the entrance is a souvenir shop, though it lacks the usual boisterous voices. It appears to be a place that can be reached both from the inside and outside, but it doesn't have many customers. Just as Jimeno has said, the aquarium seems to target adults. In an atmosphere like that, even Jimeno looks nervous. Hey Mayu. What's up? I forgot to tell you one important thing. Jimeno makes a mysterious face and brings her mouth up to my ear. What, did you drop your wallet or something? No, that's not it. There's something I've heard that's a bit of an urban legend. But they say the amount of people going missing is on the rise. There's a rumor that this month alone, the number missing is well into the double digits. Huh? We had this conversation in front of a metal rack that holds the map of the aquarium. Aside from the map, there is a guide to Man East building and information about affiliated hotels. During that time, we hear the sound of the elevator opening and closing, but we don't see the people going into the elevator, or the aquarium. Manton used to be a shopping district, right? It seems to be why even if there's a lot of runways, the media wouldn't pay much attention. But supposedly, many of the missing persons had stopped off at Manton Aquarium. That rumor, who'd you hear it from? Who indeed? No one in particular. You know how rumors spread. At Mano's words, I feel a cold shiver down my spine. Regardless of how credible the rumor is, a sense of dread shoots through me. Considering my past, it's natural that I would feel connected to missing persons in my age range, especially if they're runaways. If that's the case, it would send chills down the back of my neck. Why on earth? You could have told me before. Before this. Well, I thought if you heard about it, Mayu, you wouldn't want to come. Oh, so forgetting to tell me was a lie then, you little. I intended to protest firmly, but it still ended rather anticlimactically. Ghosts may exist, and they still may be unable to come back, but that doesn't mean I'm interested in visiting places where they are. This is proof that Himeno has her own strange interests. Yet it still makes me feel even more worried. This rumor has a continuation. Specifically, people who saw the deep-sea fish booth never came home. Himeno relays those two pieces of information that frightened me with a smile. The rumor itself aside, she wanted to pass over the question of why people were able to see the closed-off deep-sea fish booth in the first place, not wanting to discuss it at all. Wait a minute, Himeno. Something else is tied in beneath that fear. Something about the aquarium and the missing persons who didn't come home. That was, essentially... No, I mean, it's not a big deal. I like to do it just so it's not showing a bunch of stuff, kind of like people going off and online. Yeah, that was all. Are you okay, Mayu? Sorry, I guess I scared you a bit too much. I think the story's pretty exaggerated, so don't worry about it. I heard it's a fun aquarium. I think we should take those stories with a grain of salt, right? Though her kindness is misdirected, its kindness just the same. Having involuntarily sat down, I take the hand Himeno extends to me. As I slowly rise to my feet, I respond, Yeah, you're right. To think that I would hear of a connection to my previous memory in a place like this. It's strange. After 5 years, the memory should have faded. I tell myself this, and then let out a small sigh. Himeno is actually showing concern, so I sit down on a bench in the rest area next to the souvenir shop. Himeno even brings me a can of cocoa. As I'm drinking it, she buys our tickets. With her doing all of this, I have to go with her. Are you okay, miss? The fact that I'm thinking thoughts like, this canned cocoa is a bit weak, is proof that I'm cooling down. As I'm starting to feel better, a male voice calls out to me. While holding out my half-finished cocoa, I turn in the direction the voice came from. Rather than the boy's voice I expect, it belongs to an adult, so I respond timidly. I'm okay, so... I don't need to be so vigilant. He's wearing a gray knit cap and a brown running shirt. He's tall, even for a guy, so I have to look up at him. His build is almost all muscle, and my shoulders shudder a bit in surprise. He appears well over the age of 20, so I can't think of a reason he would want to talk to us. Whether he realizes I'm looking up at him or not, he plucks down, right next to me. After he sits down, we aren't sitting at the same height. Pretending to fix my posture, I move away from him a little. Are you not feeling well? Okay, so from what I understand, this game has over 30 endings, and most of them are bad endings. So if people are up to it, I'm going to give them the opportunity to influence the decisions made. This is the first time we've had a decision. I'm going to save, just so we can come back to this afterwards. You're going to go with the dots. Alright, I'll take the first suggestion I get. Looking at it positively, it seems that I've posed a question. But looking at it negatively, it seems like I had a question thrust upon me, so I remained silent. Hey, are you listening? I'm looking down and take out my smartphone. Surely looking unwell in a public place is likely to garner you sympathy. But having people I don't know worry about me is unpleasant, so I straighten my spine as much as I can. Is that your attempt to show me you're fine? In reality, I'm causing him trouble. Well, no need to worry. I work part-time in this building, so I am familiar with Manton. Hey, what are you doing? Himeno! I gasp and look up. Himeno is there carrying 2 tickets and some pamphlets. With her hands on her hips and her cheeks puffed out, Himeno glares at the man with narrow eyes. I think the only ones allowed to hit on junior high schoolers would be high schoolers. No, I'm not trying to hit on anyone. This girl looked unwell is all. Sorry. Mayu, what happened? Okay, so I think it was what you'd call hitting on someone. Was it hitting on someone or more dots? All the dots? Alright, I'll go for the dots. Not knowing how to respond, I stay silent. On seeing that I'm troubled, he turns to Himeno, who has entered his field of vision. Upon doing so, Himeno interjects with a, "Hey!" See, you can't trust anyone who just says kind things. Are you speaking from personal experience? No. And what are you coming at me like that for, Mayu? Hey, mister, please don't make such a weird face. Himeno mutters, facing the man's chest. On hearing her say "Mister" and giving me a puzzled look, the man shows us the plastic name tag hanging from his neck. I must have forgotten to take this off. Himeno, speaking of which, he did say he works part-time at this building. Oh, that's fine. I mean, I'm offering the votes if people want to. It's all good if, I can make decisions for myself if I need to. I just know that there's over 30 endings, and if I left it to myself, I probably would end up with the best ending, because that's just kind of what I end up doing. He slaps his knees and rises to his feet. He probably played some kind of sport or something, because the movement as he stands looks so effortless. I'm Hiyoshi Kenji. I work part-time at the shop downstairs. With its entry card, I can get into Manton Aquarium at a discount. Is that a company employee discount? Something like that. I'm not exactly a company employee, but I get in half off anyway. So I come here often. Really, that's quite unexpected of you, mister. When you become older, you'll crave these soothing experiences as well. And I'm not old enough to be a mister. Now he says it. Compared to us, you're definitely old enough to be a mister. Hiyoshi-san grimaces angrily, then sniffs in a self-deprecating manner. He appears to be a little older than college students, so calling him old enough to be a mister is probably rude, but Himeno only said the impression he gave was pretty close. With the aquarium as a shared point of interest, Himeno's attitude towards Hiyoshi-san softens. As proof, Himeno walks with Hiyoshi-san about the shops in this building, or talks with him. Sorry. I don't really know a lot about brands, so I sip my remaining cocoa and listen in from the outside. Maya's cocoa has become lukewarm cocoa. Well, mister, are you also well-versed in urban legends? On hearing Himeno's question, my head pops up in surprise. The corners of Hiyoshi-san's mouth lift up to a grin. That's rather unexpected for you as well. So you're interested in such things? Of course I am. You're only young once, so you have to satisfy your curiosity. We're looking into the closed-down deep-sea fish booth. There's a rumor that it's open on the day of the full moon. Do you know anything about it? Hiyoshi-san places his hand on his chin and looks down, grunting loudly. Oh, oh, oh. No. He glances at me, looks over at the entrance, then finally turns to Himeno and opens his mouth. I think you need to give up on that one thing. Naturally, since I'm a regular here, I often hear rumors like there's spirits floating in the tanks, or every time a person dies, the jellyfish tank increases by one, and so on. Himeno-chan, the story you mentioned shouldn't be anything more than one of those rumors, but... Stop dancing around it, just tell me. Previously, I knew someone who was looking into this just as you girls are doing now, Himeno-chan. He went missing soon after. Missing? Without thinking about it, I joined their conversation. If someone has gone missing here in Manton Aquarium, it holds significance to me as well. Is that for real? I glanced back in surprise. Himeno is still looking at him with doubt in her eyes. Hiyoshi-san listens to what Himeno said, and with a playful smile, he responds, Just kidding, it's a lie. I wonder if it is a lie. Because of the words he muttered, my curiosity has been piqued. I couldn't imagine the tense face he made after he told a story of an acquaintance who Wow. I couldn't imagine the tense face he made as he told the story of an acquaintance who went missing being faked. That's right. If that's the case, then that really might interest you, Mayu. I've thought from the beginning that it would be better just to give up. No way, I already bought the tickets anyway. Himeno's face shows that she's enjoying herself to the end. Then she takes my arm to gently pull me closer to her. This was the signal that she was ready to go, and in my mind I prayed that nothing would happen. Well then, wanna walk around with me? Hiyoshi-san calls out to Himeno, who is said later, but it's me rather than Himeno who hears him and spins around first, so I make eye contact with Hiyoshi-san and say, Let me do a save, because I have a feeling that this one will be a good turning point. So I can go, no way, I think we'll pass, or that's fine. So there's a decline very forceful, there's a decline kind of nice, and there's a, yeah, whatever, you can come. There's no ... dots this time, Mutamus, so... Yeah, I'd love to make a system for, I'll have to look into Ren'Py games, to make something where I can have it so, everyone can vote in the channel, and it would automatically pick it. But that's going to be down the road, if I play a lot more Ren'Py games. Yeah. Misery loves company. Let's go with that's fine. That's fine. Oh, surprising how quick you got into a good mood. Hiyoshi-san snaps his fingers and rushes to our side. Ow! Ow! As she says this, Himeno steps in front of me and makes a big X mark with both hands. Mayu, don't be tricked by an old guy like him. He uses kind words to get close to you, but he's thinking weird things inside his mind. Himeno-chan, that's not it at all. What do you mean by weird things, Himeno? Well... Hiyoshi-san narrows his eyes and grins widely. He glosses over my question and asks, What, Himeno-chan? For some reason, Himeno's face goes red and she grabs me tightly by the wrist. Sexual harassment. Definitely sexual harassment, mister. Without giving Hiyoshi-san a second look, Himeno drags me to the gate. Hiyoshi-san smiles and shrugs his shoulders. The aquarium entrance is so dark that we can't see in front of us until we're inside. I can feel the cold air on my skin. I get a sensation of something heavy causing me to rub my arm. Naturally, there's no mark indicating that something has touched me, and, called back by Jimenos, "Hey, let's go!" I pass my ticket through the machine. Figures at the whole. If you come on the day of the full moon, all the water will change into blood thing is a lie. The water's normal. Of course it is. Jeez. Right away, Himeno says something so regretfully. Even so, she's still unable to hold back her excitement at having come to the aquarium, and her steps are fittingly light. As we come out of the gate, there are several small takes nearby. Manton Aquarium's first and most celebrated exhibit is the one displaying fish native to Tokyo Bay. There are 4 tanks in the corner, from left to right, each one showing the environments of the river flowing into Tokyo Bay. Brackish waters, shoals, and open water come right after the other. Himeno giggles as rockfish, porgy, and other fish are recognized from the supermarket are also there. Porgy's a fish? Isn't that the creature from Star Wars? This booth also showcases environmental problems in order to prompt consciousness of the issue, causing a tightening of my chest. Water pollution is a serious problem. Tomorrow I'll try asking Mom to use a little less detergent. Suddenly it gotten like this. Himeno's reaction is the polar opposite of mine. Even as I'm reading the panels, she's uninterested in the display. Just like that, I've read every last panel. Himeno has long since stopped watching me, crossing her arms and puffing out her cheeks. Thanks for waiting, Himeno. Jeez, you're too serious, Mayu. If you act like that the whole time, the day will be over, or they'll close. It'll be fine. This area isn't that big. It's not like I'm gonna read everything. As soon as she hears what I said, an expression of dissatisfaction appears on Himeno's face. Well, let's head to the next area. Next is the tunnel tank. There might be ghosts. Oh, maybe they'll be the one with the human-like fish? Jeez, come on already. Even saying something like that, upon entering the aquarium, I had begun to enjoy myself. Upon cheerfully calling up to Himeno, my previous unease has disappeared, leaving me ready to move forward with a light step. Amazing. Really amazing. And pretty. With no door to partition this booth from the next, passing beside this tank took us to the next one, where larger breeds of fish swam about. This is no ordinary tank, but rather a giant tube-like tunnel, with the left and right sides connected above our heads like an arc, or in an arc. As we walk through the tunnel, we're able to watch the fish moving about in 3 dimensions. We bring our faces as close as we can to the glass, giving the illusion that we're in the ocean. Just watching the mantas, the rays, the various types of sharks, and the sea turtles can be intoxicating to us humans. When I was a child, I thought the ceiling might crack, but now I pass that feeling up, leaving only the throbbing of my heart. The water is a giant bundle of blue, various colors within it shooting in every which way. Being able to see how big they are up close, separated by mere centimeters of glass, is so impressive that it gives me the greatest realization of our shared existence. Here, Himeno's pace slows and she takes her steps one by one. Hey Mayu, look at those huge fangs! Himeno, that fish is cute too. Well, the stingray's face is creepy. Really? I think it's cute. Oh, Manta, it's huge! That little one over there looks yummy. Talking as the words come to us, our conversation seems out of sync. Our feelings of being touched, however, are the same, and Himeno's enjoyment is obvious. Being surrounded by the water and the fish as we were, we feel as though we are freed from any sense of time. Mayu, doesn't this Ray's face look human? Maybe so. It does! The mystery of the human-faced fish is solved. Naturally, well, if you're okay with it, then so am I. Thus, we learned the true nature of one of the urban legends. It was fine either way, but for Himeno, this way was probably best. Though from Himeno's enthusiastic stance, even as she watches the fish, she probably realizes just how implausible it all is. Rather than get tired of it, though, I'm having fun. We move leisurely through the tunnel, coming to a stop at the center. Up to this point, only the big things have caught our eyes. But on closer inspection of the tank, there are also sand piled up to our knees, with shrimp, shellfish, small fish, and other such creatures dwelling there. Compared to the manta rays, the small shrimp, which can't even be considered child size, seem so cute and innocent as they swim about, breaking through the sand. Hey, look, Himeno. It's tiny. As I expected, Himeno has followed the human-faced ray, and on seeing my fingertip, speaks in a playful tone. Upon sensing the tremors from Himeno poking the glass, the ray kicks at the sand and flees deeper into the tank. Man, it's gone now. As I say this to Himeno, I smile at the small shrimp. Himeno does the same, smiling widely. Before long, the two of us are looking up at the ceiling, toying with the question of just how high it is. Even looking up, we can only see the fish swimming, never the ceiling itself. Looking up from the bottom of the sea, one would normally see the rays of sun piercing the water, but looking up here was the opposite, with the bottom of the sea seeming to continue forever. It could have been the reflection of the light, or the ceiling really might have been too high. As I realize I can't be sure, my eyes settle on a small but characteristically long-nosed shark swimming past. Sharks. Sharks? That's a ray, isn't it? You just saw it from behind earlier. As soon as I mutter that, Himeno responds. It's true that although I'm interested in this type, Himeno is fixated on the human-faced ray. Huh? What's up? Himeno asks, but I falter. This conversation gives me a sense of what you may call déjà vu. How strange. It felt as if I had had this conversation before. At that moment, my vision has died ultramarine. Huh? It was no longer Himeno in front of me, but someone else had caught my attention. This can't be real. Hey, Mayu! The ultramarine color unchanged. Within it, a face like mine passes before me. A face like mine from 5 years ago. Wearing an ultramarine overcoat that merges with the color of my vision, the girl turns to me and seems to be given a gentle smile. Mayu, wait! Mari... Without hearing Himeno calling me back, I start running. We haven't finished looking at everything in the tube tunnel tank. But there's something more important right in front of me. Long hair that looks almost transparent. A thick, blue coat. Cute boots with fur on them. There's no way I could forget that outfit. That's because it was the outfit my little sister, Nakanomi Mari, wore as she went missing here 5 years ago. The girl quickens her pace as if she's playing with me and disappears on the other side of the tunnel. There are hardly any people here, but I lose sight of her between the shadows of the tank in the corner. Mari, how? Why? Hey, Mayu, wait! Breathing heavily, Himeko changes. Himeko chases after me. I say, sorry, and I break away from her, searching at the vision of Mari. As I come out of the tunnel, I survey the area. Spotting a winter skirt nearby, I chase after what I'm swaying form. Chase after that swaying form. Behind me, I can hear the intensity of Himeno's rushing steps, and I quicken my pace. Gah! Having fallen into a trance, I realize what's going on when I slam into something hard, slam into someone and fall on my backside. The girl clicks her tongue and she picks up what she had dropped. As I start to say "excuse me" to her, she's already moved past me and running off somewhere. Because of that brief incident, I'm unable to find my way out of my confusion. Anyway, Mari, I feel bad about the person I run into, causing me to feel flustered. In that exchange, I lose sight of both that long hair and long skirt. But you were going this way, right? I'm not sure myself where I'm running to. But I think you could say I'm definitely running with all my heart. I pass between more tanks than I can remember, but I don't pay them one bit of attention. I just continue following Mari's back, running. Mari is just as bashful as she was the day she disappeared. Mayu, get a hold of yourself! Those few words end my chase. To be more accurate, it was ended by Himeno herself, who has grabbed my wrist. Huh? You suddenly took off, and you wouldn't turn around no matter how many times I called you. Even when you dropped something, you had no idea. What happened all of a sudden? Wait, Himeno. If I can go after Mari, I can explain everything, so... Hold it! I look back at Himeno upon hearing her extremely hurt voice. I see tears forming in Himeno's eyes, and I turn my whole body to face her. I stand in silence like this for several seconds. If I tell Himeno about Mari, I'm sure she'll regret bringing me to Manton Aquarium. When she followed me, she had to have seen Mari. It's natural that she would have some misgivings about me chasing some total stranger, since she doesn't even know Mari. Even so, I'm not sure what to say. If I apologize now and play dumb, we could probably go back to playfully searching the aquarium for information. But that is not something I can do. It isn't the similarities that are the problem. Mari is here, and just as she had been on that day. There's no way I can come home without taking her with me. Mayu, tell me what's going on. Who's Mari? And why do you keep running off without saying anything? Tears are pouring out of Himeno's eyes. I can't understand why she's so sad. But still, my little sister. My little sister. She was here. Little sister? See, the girl I was chasing, she's my little sister. Mari disappeared about 5 years ago at this aquarium. Looking at Himeno's tear-streamed face, I no longer feel like hiding anything. Perhaps in the depths of my consciousness, I'm hoping Himeno would become satisfied and say she wants to come look with Mari for me. I'll explain in more detail later. On top of that, when I look back once more, Himeno squeezes my hand and holds me back. This is the gentlest, but the strongest she's ever held my hand. Himeno stares into my eyes, then tilts her head to the side. What do you mean? You were chasing someone? I told you, the little girl was in front of me. Or the little girl that was in front of me. Wearing the ultramarine coat and the boots, remember? That was Mari, exactly how she looked long ago. Mayu, snap out of it! Himeno shouts. It isn't simply a loud voice, but one weighed down with great sadness. It definitely gets through to me, but that doesn't mean it will stop me. Because, without a doubt, I was right. Mari had been right before my eyes, so I had to chase. Let's just say that, even if this Mari girl is here, she would have grown in 5 years, and her clothes wouldn't be the same. It's summer, so she wouldn't be wearing a coat. Moreover, she was here. I saw her. No, Mayu. No. Mayu, you weren't chasing anyone. You just took off running, leaving me behind, okay? Could you just calm down for a bit? Our tickets will get us back in, so how about some cocoa in the rest area? I think you're tired, since you were a little shaky earlier. Himeno seems pretty frantic, so I know she isn't lying just to persuade me. But there's no way that seeing Mari was a lie. That's why I start to speak without really knowing what I want to say. Himeno. Mayu, okay? Wiping away her tears, Himeno smiles at me. Surely she has plenty of strong feelings about this whole thing. I'm sure she has loads to say about me keeping the Mari thing and my reason for resisting visiting Manton Aquarium quiet. Even so, it seems as though Himeno has accepted me. She just smiles and lets it go. And that's probably right. Surely if we're by the entrance, we'll know if Mari comes out. Mayu, that's good. That's right, that's more like you. Let's go and have some cocoa, and you can tell me everything. As she smiles, Himeno once again takes my hand into her soft palm. Oh, that's right, you dropped this. You gotta be more careful. With the hand that isn't holding my own, she hands me something small. It's a keychain. The small blue droplet shape is inlaid with stardust and also holds a starfish charm. It isn't exactly rare, being a giveaway item. But why did Himeno have it? Only questions arise in my mind. Why, when that keychain was... On thinking about it, I instinctively shake off Himeno's hand. Hey, what are you doing? After I picked it up for you and all. Himeno's voice is like an arrow, piercing through me. The pain on my chest is nothing more than a discomfort. What is Himeno saying? That isn't mine, so I can't possibly have dropped it. And now I can't look at Himeno's face. Liar. Huh? Liar? That's not mine. It isn't something I dropped. It was Mari's. Mari dropped it. That can't be. I'm not lying. Really, there was no Mari-chan, so she couldn't have dropped the keychain. Himeno was becoming gruff as she continued. Really, isn't it you who's lying? No one? No one else is here. That's enough. Himeno, you dummy. Saying only that, I turn my back on Himeno. When I glance back, Himeno's shocked expression is getting further away. She was there. Mari had definitely been there. Because the keychain Himeno had, it belonged to Mari. There was no way I could forget. It was just before Mari went missing. For the two of you, just this once. Upon saying that, Mom hands us each 100 yen notes. That day was a cold winter day. The Manton Aquarium souvenir area, the smell of construction lingered faintly in the air. There were manta and penguin stuffed animals, stationed with a logo on it, and various souvenirs. At the entrance to that souvenir stand, there were the gacha machines containing that keychain. I don't remember all the various types, but star sand was packed into the plastic drops. The charms were all modeled after the fish in the aquarium. It was fairly typical for Gacha Gacha, but at the time it seemed very enticing to me. It was the same for Mari, and we gazed into the Gacha Gacha machine. Mari was the one who usually begged our parents at this point, but neither of us had bought a souvenir, and both of us said we wanted the keychains. Since Mom couldn't be completely broken, she emphasized the one-time only bit. Yay! Mari held out both hands with glee, while I probably just smiled. I remembered that inside I was just as happy. As to which of us went first, it was of course the more assertive Mari. She was always like this, a cheerful and inquisitive child. How cute! Mr. Star! Mari got a Starfish Charm keychain. At this point, Mari still didn't know the difference between a starfish and a star. I was next to get one. It was a pink drop with a jellyfish charm. Ah, jellyfish. Ah, that's the one I wanted most. Mari pointed the index finger of my tiny hand, exclaiming in a loud voice. Mari was just learning how to use first person when she mentioned herself. Instead of a normal I or me, she said it slowly. Hey, big sister, trade me. No way, I want this one. Ugh. Naturally, as I already had fallen in love with that design, I abstinently turned her down. Upon begging my mother for one more time, my mother, who had warned us earlier, held her purse strings tight, leaving Mari to sulk. Fine, stupid big sister. Without listening to my mother's admonishments, she ran off. Sulking after being called stupid, I naturally didn't chase her right away. My mother, being optimistic about the aquarium's small size, also waited a while to go looking for Mari. And now, all I'm left with are my regrets. If only I'd gone after her sooner. If only I had traded her keychains in the first place. Even so, the past is unchanging, and I'm left with only my regrets to bear. So in case I could ever trade with Mari again, I've stubbornly carried around that keychain, the one with the pink droplet shape and the jellyfish charm, like a treasure. I rummaged through my bag, seeking to feel the keychain in my hand. Huh? Why, at a time like this, I had forgotten to bring it. The keychain wasn't in the bag or my pockets. Huh? A sigh naturally slipped out of my body. After all, I had lost sight of Mari and strayed from Himeno. Himeno had the building map, so there was nothing I could do. Huh? At that moment, a pungent aroma floats by and causes me to speak in surprise. Unable to bear the irritating stench, I pinch my nose. Still, the stench seems to twist in my nose. It's made of the smell of sewage, sulfur, and the nauseating stench of vinegar. Squish! As soon as I try to get away from the smell, something soft creeps along the bottom of my foot. I hesitantly look down. I realize the true identity of the putrid odor. It's a corpse. I'm not sure what type, but it's as big as my arm span. The body is slowly decaying and hasn't retained its original form, yet by its bulging round eyes and slightly extended tail fin, I could just barely tell it was a fish. I couldn't tell right away, but it had a silhouette similar to a pirarucu. I feel like I've seen these eerie glaring eyes, characteristic of a freshwater fish. I feel sick. I move my foot slowly and a small fragment of the corpse sticks to the bottom of my shoe, on the underside of which I notice something wriggling desperately. The slight sound of flapping wings depart from inside my ear, and I understand what the wriggling thing is, an insect. Shaking, chills run up my spine as if someone pressed ice on it. I take a step back and drop my cell phone. The phone reacts to the backlight and the LCD screen coming on, illuminating the dead body. The syrupy dead body absorbs the light, the winged insect that flees to avoid it. There's also a meandering white nematode that seems not to notice. The backlight soon disappears, leaving a stench amidst the darkness. The shadows of those hideous insects are scorching at my retinas, and they sway like the light off. They sway like the light off of the heat haze in the darkness. Something was creeping up in the pit of my stomach. Save. Okay. So, I can endure it, or I can't take it. We're dealing with the stench, or something creeping up from the pit of the stomach. I'll give everyone a moment to make a decision. As far as I think, I'm thinking is it's either we deal with the stench or we say, "F this, we're out of here." Hmm. I can't take it. I throw up everything that had welled up inside me. It doesn't all come up at once, taking 3 times of convulsing to get all the vomit out. It was disgusting. Still even more disgusting was the fact that the insects had gathered around my vomit as if it were a feast. What in the world was happening? Why did I have to relive these memories? I can't figure out the answer to my doubts. My doubts. Not at all. I cover my eyes with both hands. I couldn't have made it if I didn't. But shutting out my vision leaves my sense of smell, causing the smell of rotten water and the stench of the dead body to become more intense, so I uncover my eyes. No, what is this? This is a place for customers. Is it really all right for this to be here? On top of all that, I was in the middle of chasing Mari, wasn't I? No, that isn't the problem. It's strange enough that there's a place like this in the middle of an aquarium. Anyway, I've got to get out of here. The stench is so overpowering, it's as if I can see it. I want to get out of here quickly, satisfying myself with the argument that it's a garbage dump or something. That if only I get away, I'll be fine. At any rate, I can go back the way I came. No, that's no good. I might run into Himeno. At this moment, I don't want to see her face. My eyes having adjusted a bit to the darkness, I search for a way out. Here the tanks are broken, the little remaining water stinking, and the bodies of living things have tumbled out here and there. I think about how happy I am that I can't see. Even so, to find the exit I'll have to look around. My nose has begun to become numb, and thanks to that I'm somehow able to retain my sanity. Before long I find a dim emergency light behind one of the tanks, and I head towards it as if there were the last hope I could claim to. I feel squishing several times beneath my feet, but I try to ignore it and move on. As I move towards the emergency light, it seems the smell is becoming faint. I get used to the shattered shards of glass and the rotten fish corpses just before I reach the door. The tip of my shoe feels as if I kicked something hard, something different from before. Wondering what I had kicked, I casually look down. No. I get the sensation that all the blood had stopped flowing through me and that my heart had stopped completely. The round thing I kicked had patches of hair, 2 eyes, a nose with a bone to it, and a mouth. Altogether it is. A human face. Speaking accurately, it's a head rather than a face. It's completely lifeless and rolls away with a flopping sound when my foot touches it. Seeing the state the head is in, I begin to feel ill again, despite having calmed down from before. Of the white cranium, only the forehead area seems to be exposed. It seems that it is new and has only just begun to decay. No, for starters, there's no way a human head should be rolling around here. It's my imagination, or it has to be some sort of model. I haven't yet looked in the direction it was rolling, convincing myself that it isn't a human head. It's really different, so that there's no satisfying myself. I place my hands on the door in an attempt to escape. Unable to control my shaking hands, it takes 3 tries before I can open the door. It's a heavy fire door that's usually open. Sound design is pretty damn good in this game, too. This is... I step inside with my thoughts racing, and the atmosphere changes completely once more. I can hear the sound of the door closing behind me. Inside is a very clean place. The transparent water is tinted a faint blue, and inside float fantasy-like jellyfish. Countless pillar-shaped tanks are spread around. And the water shimmers as it reflects the light of the fluorescent lamp. Red and yellow, green and purple, the jellyfish bodies diffusing light like a prism. In spite of the strange space I had reached, I'm fascinated by the shimmering live art display. Himeno, I mutter without thinking. Then I quickly shake my head, erasing the image of Himeno's face that appeared in my mind. Earlier, she didn't come after me. After all, Himeno chose on her own to part ways from me. I'm sure that it's because she dislikes me now. It isn't something I should worry about. Even at a quick glance, I could see that there's various types of jellyfish in the tank. Having made efficient use of the small space, it's a charming area. It vividly expresses the starry sky, as is fitting of the name Manton Aquarium. Compared to the earlier Fish of the World booth, this one isn't the least bit in decay. I wonder if Mari came this way. And with that, we've got this decision about going back is dangerous, or I feel worried about Himeno all of a sudden, I'll go back. We are going to leave that decision for the next stream.